Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Popular Stranger. So we got a highly requested video for you guys, and this is going to be like part one of a three-part series on how I set up my defense. And in this video, we're going to go over how to do quick adjustments. This is just generally speaking. This isn't specific to my scheme or anything that I do specifically. It's more so how to do quick adjustments on defense. I get asked the question a ton over on Twitch, like, how do you do adjustments so fast? How do you know what to press? How do you do this? How do you do that? What does this mean? What does that mean? So we're going to go over all of it. Might be a longer video. I really don't know. Like, we're going to try to cover everything that I can. If you're a beginner to gameplay, or you're just not that good, and trust me, I'm not the most amazing player in the world, but I feel like there's a ton of coaches out there in any sport that maybe weren't good at the sport, but are good at teaching it, and that's what we're going for here. I want to teach you guys how to quick adjust. So one of the biggest things that I notice people doing, and this is when I'm on offense, because I have the identifier ability, you can see, you know, what player is being used. So when I'm on offense, I can see the circle on a player, and a lot of times you can pick up on a player where they'll select a defensive lineman, and then they'll go over here and select this guy, and eventually they'll get on their linebacker, who's going to end up being their user. So sometimes you can kind of get an understanding of what your opponent's doing by who they're selecting. They might be trying to drop this guy in a zone, or put this guy, put this, you know, the slot corner on a blitz. You can adjust any player on the field without ever leaving your linebacker. And this is also a great way to not get caught out of position, because you could be doing all this and your opponent snaps it. Now you're stuck on your D-line and your user is taken away, and that could take a big part of the field away. So from your linebacker or whatever player you like to use generally, even if you like to use the D-line, you can make any one of these players do any type of route, or I shouldn't say route, but any type of adjustment that's in the game. You can set it up directly from here. There's three positional groups that you can impact. Let's go over how to adjust them. So number one is going to be your secondary, and to adjust them, you're going to have to hit triangle twice. That's on PlayStation. If you're on Xbox, it's going to be Y twice. So when I hit it 2 times, it's now going to say select defender, if you look in the bottom left. So I now have the ability to select any one of my secondary members. So Bradbury, Bayard, Avonte Maddox, Reed Blankenship, Darius Slay, and Bradley Roby. These are all my secondary members. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. The other option that you have is your defensive line. So to adjust defensive line members, you're going to hit the D-pad to the left 2 times on your controller. So you can see here now, it gives me the 3 icons of the 3 players, the 3 defenders that we want to adjust. And you can also see all of their names down in the bottom left. And then the final one will be the linebackers, which obviously we're on one of the linebackers. But if I like to use my safety and I want to control or make changes to my linebackers, you're going to hit right on your directional pad 2 times, and you're now going to see that your linebackers are selected. In this case, we only have Nakobe Dean and Zach Cunningham. So those are the 3 positional groups: double triangle or double Y for the secondary, left 2 times on the D-pad for the D-line, right 2 times on the D-pad for your linebackers. So now let's talk about specific adjustments into the secondary, because I think this is most commonly what I do. So we're going to hit double triangle again here, and let's go ahead and select our left of screen safety, which is Kevin Bayard, our triangle option here. All I got to do is press that button once, and now it gives me basically 8 different assignments that we can set him on. A deep half, man coverage, we can put him in a QB spy, an inside quarter, a blitz, a hook curl, and inside third. Now, I'm not going to be the greatest at explaining exactly what all of these zones do. That's kind of where I'm going to fail you a little bit, but I more so want to teach you guys exactly how to set up these adjustments. And in part 2 and 3 of this mini series, I'm going to go over specific adjustments that I do out of a dollar formation, which we're in right now, and then also my big nickel over G defense, because, you know, you guys ask me that on stream all the time. So just again, hypothetically, I want to put Kevin Bayard in a purple zone, because I think, you know, over there, number 11, I think he might go some type of corner route here. So when I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and hit right on my directional pad, and that's actually going to put him in a purple zone. Now, the reason I say that one specifically is because, number 1, it's something that I use a ton, and number 2, you actually don't see that on the options on your screen at the bottom left right now. So this is just something that's in my muscle memory that I've learned how to do. So when I hit right on my D-pad, you're going to see he's now in a purple, and I was able to change his zone without ever having to select that receiver, or that defender, I should say. If you ever make a mistake take on an adjustment and you want to reset it, we got him in that purple now. You're going to hit X on Xbox or square on PlayStation, and then you see at the bottom left it says reset play for L2, or that's left trigger on Xbox, I believe, and boom, now we are reset. So another thing that I most commonly do here, and you can play around with all the different options, but I may want to put this safety into man coverage. So we're going to double triangle, or again, double Y on Xbox. We're going to select the defender that we want to put in man coverage. In this case, let's go ahead and put L1, which is going to be Avonte Maddox, into man coverage. So now I'm going to go ahead and select him. It gives me those 8 additional options. If I wanted to put him in a purple, I would hit right on my D-pad like we just did a moment ago with our safety. Instead, we're going to go man coverage now. Here's where an extra button press goes in, and this is all going to be repetition. You got to get muscle memory on this. We're going to go up on our right analog stick. That's going to assign him to man coverage, but now we have to select the receiver that we want to actually have him cover. So we could put him on square over there on the left, right, or we could put him on triangle, which is the running back. You can't cross man a ton this year. What I mean by that is I can't have, if I tried to have him cover R1 or circle, it's just simply not going to allow me to do it. So let's go ahead and put him coverage on 11, which is AJ Brown over here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit square, and now you can see he's manning him up. Now, if I want to double team AJ Brown, which sometimes can be a good idea, especially IRL, we can leave it just like that. But maybe now I want to put my cornerback who was originally signed to AJ Brown in a zone. So we're going to go ahead and double tap triangle or Y again. This time we're going to select square, which is James Bradbury, and now we have all of those options again. One thing that I like to do a lot is outside quarter, especially against corner routes. So we're going to push right or push left on our right analog stick, and now you can see he is in a zone coverage, and we have Avonte Maddox manned up on him. So that's not the stock original defense, but that's an adjustment that I was able to make pre-snap. The possibilities here are pretty much endless. Like, I could do a million things, but this video would end up turning into like a 40-minute video, and I don't know if I want it to go that long. One other thing that I kind of have to focus on or pay attention to with the defense that I run, let's go ahead and put Reed Blankenship. So again, double Y or double triangle. We're going to select him with X, and then we're going to put him in a purple, which is right on our analog stick. So now we got him over here, right? But that kind of leaves the middle of the field open. Now, obviously, our user could take that away, but what I would like to do in some situations is cheat over with our other safety. So we'll double triangle. We're going to select triangle to select Kevin Byard. Crazy how many people are on this defense right now that are not really on this defense IRL anymore. And then we have our 8 options here. We're going to go inside third, which kind of covers like the middle of the field. So that's left on our left analog stick. And now you can see he kind of cheats over here. So now we're kind of figuring out a way to cover the entire field with our safeties or with our secondary and still keep a couple man coverage guys. We can do a hook curl on one of our safeties here, which essentially brings them down to kind of cover like crossing routes or hook curls, obviously. So once we select Kevin Byard here, we get our options. Again, hook curl is going to be down on our left analog stick, and now we have this route. And the good thing is the play art kind of tells you where that player is going to be. They don't always stay there, but it is a good option. Say our opponent is killing us with table routes with the running back and DeAndre Swift. We can go ahead and double tap triangle. We're going to select L1 for Avonte Maddox. And now we have a couple different options here. We can go hard flat, which is left on our left analog stick. Notice he has different options compared to a safety based on where he is on the field. But if we want to go hard flat now, he's going to kind of take away any type of table routes or any quick routes out to the left-hand side, like a quick out route from AJ Brown could end up getting covered here. This is not ideal defense at all, but if we wanted to put Darius Slay over on the right-hand side of the screen into any type of cloud or hard flat, double wire, double triangle again. We're going to select circle this time for Slay, and we could blitz him with our right analog stick going down. That would be dumb, but we also have hard flat, cloud flat, scoff squat, and then outside third over on the left. So I could put him in a cloud flat, and now look, now we're covering way too many spots with the same player here. So now we could change Reed Blankenship and put him in an inside third, and now he's covering. So you can get crazy with your defenses here, or you can do certain things to take away specific routes, but that's mainly how you're going to be quick adjusting your secondary, and that's going to be safeties and cornerbacks. There's not too many adjustments you're going to find yourself doing to the defensive line, especially in a 3 down lineman set. You want to stay away from that. But let's go over a couple of the options. So remember, that's going to be left on your D-pad 2 different times. We got our 3 options here. If it was a nickel coverage or 6-1, we'd have 4 or 5 there. It depends on the formation that you're in. But let's go with Josh Sweat. Right on our left of screen, we're getting killed with table routes here. You can catch your opponent by surprise by maybe dropping him into a hard flat to try to go out and cover it. That's not his specialty there. He's not going to be good at doing it, but it might throw your opponent off there, and it might force an interception or a knocked pass, or maybe just catch them slipping, and then you can get some pressure in a different way. But we'll go ahead and select Josh Sweat. Now, you can put these players in man coverage. I wouldn't recommend it. You also have the option to QB spy, which is something you might find yourself doing. Vertical hooks, hard flats, curl flats, seam flats are all the option here. So if we wanted to go hard flat, left on our left analog stick, similar to what we did with Avonte Maddox a moment ago, and now he's going to be in a zone covering that area. Again, left on the D-pad 2 times, square. If I wanted to put him in a QB spy, because we're getting killed by the QB running, we're going to go right on or use our right analog stick and push it to the left. And now you can see he's in a QB spy. If we wanted to put Josh Sweat in man coverage, it's going to be similar to what we did with our secondary. We'll select him, and then we got man coverage by pressing up on our right analog stick. I think the only person he would actually be allowed to cover here, based on the game rules, is triangle, which is DeAndre Swift. If you tried like A.J. Brown on the left or Dallas Goedert over here on the right, it just won't allow you to do it. But if we hit triangle now, he's going to be covering DeAndre Swift in man coverage. Lots of different things you can do. Here's a vertical hook, and if you wanted to drop your entire defensive line into coverage somehow, I mean, you could do it, right? We'll hit triangle, we'll put him in a vertical hook as well by hitting down on our right analog stick. I take that back. They won't let me put him in a zone, but we can put him in a QB spy. And then one more time, left on the D-pad 2 times, we'll select Hassan Reddick with X, and we can put him in, let's see if a bluff blitz will work here. Yeah, it did. So now, if we snap the ball, none of my defensive ends or defensive tackles are actually going to rush the passer. They're all going to kind of do their own thing here, but as you can see, we were able to quick adjust them the whole way through. Stupid coverage. You never want to do this. I'm just showing you the different options that you have with your D-line. The final set of individual adjustments is going to be the linebacker group, which you're going to find yourself using a lot as well. So one thing that I commonly like to do, and we'll talk about it when we run our spinner defense, is, right, I'll put Reed Blankenship over on a purple here to cover the corner route, but as we said, the middle of the field's open, but maybe we don't want to take this safety and put him here, because then we got that left of screen cornerback all by himself, and streaks are really good this year, and we could give up a one-play touchdown. So to cover the middle of the field, we might want to put Zach Cunningham in a zone to go up and cover. That's not his specialty IRL, but in MUT, totally different story. So now we got right on the D-pad 2 different times. It's going to give us our 2 linebackers in this situation to make adjustments to. We're going to hit square to select Zach Cunningham, and now we can put him in man coverage if we want with the up on the right analog stick, and then we would select the receiver. So if we want him to cover DeAndre Swift, now we have that option there. If we wanted to put him in a QB spy to protect from Jalen Hurts running, right on our left on our right analog stick. I keep messing that one up. So now we have him in that. Trying to be repetitive here, because you're going to have to be repetitive to remember these things. Right on our D-pad 2 different times to get the linebacker group, square to select Zach Cunningham, and we want to put him in a middle third, which is basically like a blue zone going up the middle of the field here. So we're going to push up on our left analog stick, and now, even though he's going to be really, really slow, now we kind of have that high part of the middle of the field covered. In MUT, it's going to be much easier because you got sub linebackers out there with 95, 96, 97 speed. A lot of the new linebackers in the game are really fast as well. But that's how you're going to adjust your linebackers. One other thing that I find myself doing a lot is I'll put, this guy into a purple, Nakobe Dean into a purple. So we'll go ahead and select him. And again, I don't know why this is not on the screen here, but D-pad to the right is going to put him in that purple zone. And then we can, go back and adjust our Reed Blankenship, which is our X guy, and maybe put him in an inside third. And, the possibilities are endless, but that's basically how you're going to quick adjust any positional group or any player on the field. Let's go over some other coverage adjustments. Number number one, press coverage. Now, you want to be careful doing this because press coverage is not great this year. If you have safety help over the top, it's much better, but if you're leaving a guy one-on-one, you can find yourself getting beat deep a lot. So to do some other coverage adjustments, you're going to hit triangle on PlayStation or Y on Xbox, but only do it once this time. There's a bunch of other options out there. Remember when we hit it 2 different times, it gave us individual secondary members. Now we're changing a couple different things. If we want to back our coverage off, we can use our left analog stick or our left D-pad and press up, and that's going to give cushion. We can go ahead and select it again. If we want to press, we're going to go down instead. Now, one thing that I learned this year is in press coverage, if I want to back off an individual receiver, we do have the ability to do it. There's a lot of buttons to press, so you're going to have to get comfortable doing this. Don't just jump into a game and YOLO it. You may want to go into practice mode as well, but we're going to hit triangle or Y on Xbox, individual, if you see that on the bottom of your left screen or on the left part of your screen, individual, and then you're going to select the receiver that you want to back off on. So if I want to back off coverage on AJ Brown over on the left of our screen, we're going to hit square. We're already pressed, so we don't want to do press, but you could press one individual receiver by doing this. We can shade right or shade left. That essentially is like kind of guessing which way the receiver is going to run his route. You would shade left if you think it's like a corner route or a C route or something breaking outward. You would shade right if you think if it's a slant, a drag, something breaking inward. In this case, we want to back off this individual defender. So we're going to press up on our right analog stick, and everybody else remains pressed, but he backs off. That's something I do a ton when there's a single receiver on the left or right hand side, and I maybe might not have safety help because we're putting, you know, Kevin Byard down in a hook curl like this. So we're giving a little cushion. We're probably going to give up quick routes, but sometimes, and I say sometimes, we're not going to get beat deep, because you still can get beat deep in that situation, but that's how you individually adjust a receiver or a defender covering a specific receiver. A moment ago, we showed you shading inside and outside on that individual matchup. You can do it for your entire secondary. One more time, triangle or Y on Xbox. The coverage adjustment menu pops up here, and you can see on the right hand side or the right analog stick, you got shade inside, shade outside, and then shade over top and underneath. Over top is when you think they're going down the field. Underneath is really good for drag routes, you know, quick routes, slants, things of that nature. You can do combinations of over top and an outside if you think it's a corner route that's 15 yards downfield. If you're getting killed by slants or drags, you can shade underneath, so that's down on the right analog stick, and then shade inside, which is going to be left on your right analog stick. These are things that you'll find yourself doing, but you're not going to see your players move. Sometimes they will. They'll kind of line up inside or outside on certain formations and certain coverages, but we did just shade down and inside, which would essentially try to take away drags and slant routes. It doesn't mean that it's going to stop it every time, but if you ever find yourself, you know, going against a man coverage and you're like, why is their defender almost running the routes against my wide receiver? It's because they probably set up the right combination against the routes that you're using. We also have base align and man align are things that you can do within the game at each individual play. You can also set these things up in coach adjustments. Now, you know, it depends on what you're running, and we'll talk about this more in the dollar and big nickel over G defenses that I run in part 2 and 3 of this mini series. But if you go into your coach adjustments here, auto alignment by default is going to be default, right? Defenders will align according to their default alignment rules. I personally like to set my defense on man align because I run a ton of man coverage here. Your other option is going to be base align. Now, if you leave it on default, you can do these things individually if you don't want it to be done each and every single play, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're going to come out in spinner, which will be part 2 of this video. We'll go ahead and select a play, any play here for the offense. And by default, this is how it's lined up. And it's like there's really no rhyme or reason to it. You can see our left of screen safety is got to come all the way across the field there to cover the tight end, which he'll stay like that regardless of what we do, unless we make other individual adjustments. But if I wanted to base align, we're going to go ahead and triangle on our controller, or that would be Y on Xbox. And on our left analog stick, we're going to go to the right. We see base align over there. So this is what base align looks like. It kind of keeps it more nice and neat. If we reset the defense, you can man align from this screen as well, which with this formation, all you're really going to see is that right of screen blitzing defensive back kind of move over to the right. but it is a way to disguise your coverage essentially. You can see here now, and then if we wanted to also base align with triangle and then right on our left analog stick, and then we can press, right? So then triangle and down on our left analog stick. These are different ways that you can disguise or set up your coverage. I set these things up in coaching adjustments, so I don't have to press all of these extra buttons every single play. So this is basically how my defense looks almost every time that it comes out on the field. It's going to line up a little bit different compared to different formations, and we're going to cover all of that. But I think that covers everything. I mean, there are other things in here that you can do, like, you know, playing the sticks is a way to reset your match coverage, which I never really even touch. Showing blitz can be good if you run into somebody with threat detector, because I believe on their screen it would have them come across as some type of blitzer, but they don't actually blitz. That's more of a bluff blitz. Showing blitz makes your safeties come down in coverage, but it would give the illusion of a blitz, and then maybe, you know, you could quick adjust and drop him back in coverage and put, you know, this guy in this zone. So I think I covered everything. I feel like I'm maybe missing something, but that's really for beginners. Everything that you can do to quick adjust your entire defense, an individual player, a set of a positional group as well. Let me know your feedback. Did you enjoy this video? I felt like I was a little bit all over the place here, but again, a very common question that I get on how do I do all of these quick adjustments, and that's pretty much everything that I do at a basic level. We're going to talk specific defenses in part 2 and part 3, probably a couple days in between episodes. We'll see how this one does, but thank you for watching the video. Click that thumbs up if it helped. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.